once again everyone, and welcome to I've Been Playing. Today we are talking about Senua's Saga Hellblade II. I was going to talk about both of these games because I have actually played both of them relatively recently. It's been a couple of months now for the first one, which is kind of why I don't want to talk about it, but I have technically been playing both of them. Before we get started, if you are unaware of what Senua's Sacrifice, that's the first one, and Senua's Saga are, they're about a woman who experiences psychosis, and that's kind of part of the whole thing. It's a very heavy game in terms of tone, so while I do recommend looking into them, you have to go into it with the right mindset, the right state of mind, knowing what you're going to get in for, and it's not a game you can sit and necessarily play all in one sitting. It's intense. They're both intense, I guess I should say. So just so that's there right out the gate. It's intense in themes, and there's also the binaural audio, which is really well done, and you can hear the different voices that are constantly chattering to her, and they go around you and talk to you the whole time. So, you know, it can be a lot to take in. But to get into the actual story, so the first one is about her, Senua, that is the main character's name, traversing through hell to rescue the soul of her lover, Dillion, who got killed by invading forces. It's partly that, but it's also kind of an exploration of her coming to terms with her psychosis. The second one, which we are going to be talking about a little bit today, I've only actually played about maybe an hour and a half of it, and at time of release, I'm away from home, so I wanted to do this while it's fresh in my mind, even if it's not that much. She's traveled to a faraway land, which was modeled off of Iceland, and they actually like map scanned it, I don't know what it's called, but used cameras to scan the landscape, and you can tell it's supposed to be Iceland, because it looks like Iceland, there's also that, but they have modeled it really well. So she's up there and she's looking for the Northmen who invaded her home. That's basically where this game starts and what this game is about. Obviously, psychosis is still there. It's also set ages and ages and ages in the past, so there was no understanding. That was part of the thing too. Everyone, you know, treating her as if she's a monster because she had psychosis, but also just there's no treatment, and there's no getting rid of it, especially at the time, as well as little understanding, so there's a little bit of that as well. But she's, again, learned to deal with it, and she's up there in Iceland. She was on a slave ship. I can't remember off the top of my head whether she intentionally got captured. I'm pretty sure she intentionally got captured to go up there to exact revenge for her entire village, really, because her entire village got wiped out. So you start with that, you're on a slave ship, it gets wrecked, and then you get washed up on shore. The first thing that I noticed, and I kind of knew anyway, the first game was really, I don't know if pretty is quite the right word, but very visually striking, shall we say. And this newer one is even better, like probably the best facial animations I've ever seen. Very impressive environments, very impressive water, like the water is so hard to get right, and it does look a little bit worse off in the distance. If you look off in the distance, it doesn't look quite as real, but if you look at it like next to you in game, it looks really good. The faces are really, genuinely, if I didn't know this was a game, and you showed me footage of it, but especially a still of it, I don't think I'd be able to tell that it wasn't a movie. It's that photorealistic sometimes. It's actually incredible, and it's probably not going to look quite as good in this video, partly because I don't know if it recorded in 4K or not, but also because YouTube does weird compression things, but trust me, it is unbelievably photorealistic, and to a scary degree, actually. Like, games shouldn't be allowed to look this good, you know what I mean? I'm still not quite used to games looking as good as they can. It's incredibly impressive, but it also makes it that much more harrowing to play through. The other thing is the gameplay. A lot of it is walking around and solving puzzles. You'll find gates. Senua will come across gates, and she sees symbols on the gates, and you have to match up things in the environment to open the gate, and normally it's made up of a few different symbols or pieces of a symbol kind of a thing, and you look around the environment and there's a little effect when you get close to where you're supposed to be, and you have to line stuff up in various planes and make shapes or runes. It was runes in the first one to unlock the next section of area. A lot of it's going to be that. There's combat as well, which was probably my least favorite part of the first game, and so far is my least favorite part of this game, because it's not entirely intuitive, I would say. It's not terrible, but it does take quite some time to get used to, and a lot of it relies on parrying, which I was having a hard time getting when I was playing it. But, you know, you can set the combat difficulty down, so that's not necessarily the biggest thing. You're not really there for the combat anyway. If you're playing this, it's there for the story and the experience, or at least it should be, because again, this is not a game you should go into lightly. One thing I will say with this one is that sometimes Senua walks unbelievably slowly, and it's a bit off-putting, or it kind of takes me out of the experience. I understand why they don't want me running through these sections, like sprinting through them, but a little bit of a faster walk would be nice, because going as slowly as she does in certain sections has also kind of been taking me out of it, because I'm like, why am I moving so slowly? I know she's injured in the part I was playing, so it does make sense in that way, that she's probably not going to run around, and, you know, that kind of thing, but slightly fast. I mean, the fact that she's walking at all after she had a 10-minute long fight with a guy that was beating her up with both a sword and an axe. Can we not make her move a little bit faster, please? But again, I get it. They don't want you to run through these things. And I don't want to run through them either. I just don't want to walk slower than a slug. That's all I really have for you right now for this little review update, whatever you want to consider these. I don't really know. I guess they're kind of reviews. They're casual reviews because I never look up anything or write anything for them. I just kind of say things and hope it makes sense. But like I said at the beginning, I do recommend these if you can get into the brain space to play them, and that's what I think. So if you've played the game, let me know in the comments down below what you think of it. If you've tried the first one or the second one, I would think you would try the first one before you try the second one, and not try the second one without trying the first one. But if you have played either and or both, please let me know what you think of them down in the comments down below. I hope you enjoyed this. Again, I haven't played very much of it, and I am going to be away for a bit, so I just wanted to get all this stuff out while it was fresh in my mind. And with that, I will see you next time.